You could do it over there.
Which one? The one on the fan or
Let's
one
get
on
one
the
piece out. Say hi. Say hi. Say hi. Say hi. Yes. Oh, you about to say hi, Armoney? Say hi. Yeah. Ow. Just kick me in my nose. Just kick me. Just kick me. Yeah, you kick your mama. You kick your mama. You kick me. Yeah.
People love to rewrite history, so depending on who you ask, 32-year-old Sheqweetta Vaughan was either outspoken, fun, and the best mom ever, or she was exactly what her actions proved: unfit, reckless, and dangerous. The receipts don't lie. She wasn't nurturing, she wasn't stable, she was destructive, and the ultimate proof is that her reckless choices behind the wheel left her own child dead. That's not a stumble in motherhood, that's the obliteration of it. And when prison finally caught up with her, she didn't die some tragic heroine. She died the same way she lived, in chaos, failure, and disgrace. Sheqweetta's story isn't about depression or redemption. It's about a woman who turned motherhood into a crime scene and got swallowed by the same darkness she created. And while her death might spark pity in some, it's hard to feel sympathy for someone who never showed compassion to her own children. Welcome to the American Crime Femicide channel. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for future uploads. Sheqweetta, affectionately called Quita by her friends and family, had built an identity around being a self-proclaimed rude gal. Jamaican by descent, born in New York, but living in Atlanta, she leaned into the persona of being outspoken, brash, and unapologetic. Atlanta suited her well because it offered everything she wanted: food with soul, music that never stopped, neighborhoods rich in Black culture, and a steady supply of men who could entertain her but rarely offered stability. Men who were exciting in the moment but never husband material, and certainly not father material. But convincing Quita of that was a losing battle. She lived by her own rules, and when it came to relationships, her rules left her blind. If she wanted a man, she wanted him, regardless of how bad the choice looked to everyone else. By 2012, she became a mother for the first time, giving birth to a boy named Armoney. He was her pride and joy, the baby she paraded across social media like a trophy. His handsome face smiling in photos that were supposed to symbolize her stepping into maturity. For a moment, she poured herself into being a mother. She worked, she hustled, she balanced daycare and bills, trying to show the world she was capable of raising a child on her own. But in 2013, reality hit harder than any Instagram caption. The father of her son was sentenced to 50 years in prison for a sex crime, essentially disappearing from Armoney's life forever. Vaughan became the sole provider for her son, forced to raise him without the support of a partner. She carried on, because that was her way. By 2016, she had another man in her life, Sam Carlito, a local rapper chasing dreams that rarely paid the bills. He wasn't stability, but he was attention, and for Quita, that was enough. In 2017, she gave birth to another son, Sameze, who she affectionately nicknamed after his father, Carlito. For a while, things looked like they might finally settle. She posted pictures of the baby, of Sam, of the life she imagined could work out this time. But just like the first, the relationship collapsed. Once again, she was left raising her children on her own, another man gone, another child left to her care without the support of the father. She tried to show up in the ways mothers are expected to. She took the kids to the park, she posed for pictures, she posted about her love for them, but the cracks were obvious.
Oh my God, you wetting my fucking phone!
Girl, you better leave your phone up here.
What the fuck, bro?
Y'all need to get in and get out.
I know. My ass is so torn. Let me get out. Go, sit down. Come on. Yeah, she fucking doing all the extra shit, but you gotta know how to talk to this bitch. You gotta talk. You gotta, yes. You gotta talk to her. She talking all kinds of crazy shit. I'm like, Amber, you gonna say something like that? Shit. She talking crazy as fuck. Sit down.
I'm being real about my shit.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to be malicious towards you.
Yeah, but you supposed to be like, girl, and don't nobody want to chip dirty ass with her motherfucking rotten teeth and shit. Bitch, you got me all the way fucked up. Come on now. I wanted to grab the phone for you and talk for you. She got me all the way fucked up. And I wanted to grab the phone. That's why I got out the damn car. She be pissing me off where you'll be saying what I want you to say. Or hoping you was going to say. Shit.
Y'all jump in. Have fun.
Damn. Just don't splash my damn phone. That's all I got to say. Go over there somewhere. Go, daddy. Go, daddy. Go, 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 daddy. Go, 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 daddy.
Go, mommy.
Go, daddy.
Go, mommy.
No, I'm not going. Are you trying to trick me?
Go, mommy.
Stop splashing.
She was quick to snap, profanity rolled casually off her tongue in front of her sons, and her patience seemed thinner by the day. To those who loved her, it was stress. To those who saw her online, it was neglect in plain sight. She wasn't growing into motherhood. She was drowning in it. December 2020 would be the month that defined her forever. On a December morning, she got into her 2017 Chevy Cruze with her two boys, 8-year-old Armoney and 3-year-old Carlito. She was impaired, toxicology later showing fentanyl and anti-anxiety medication in her system. She drove southbound on I-285 near Campbellton Road, speeding at 76 miles per hour, 11 miles over the limit. The car spun out, slammed into a guardrail, skidded across lanes, and was struck by another vehicle. Carlito, unbuckled in the back seat, took the full brunt of her recklessness. He clung to life for 3 days before dying from blunt force trauma to his head and torso. Armoney suffered minor injuries. Quita survived with a serious head wound that left her scarred, both physically and emotionally, though she would later touch those scars almost theatrically, as though they were badges rather than reminders of failure. The crash exposed everything people had whispered about her. One child dead, another traumatized, a mother alive but indicted. And if the crash wasn't bad enough, the timing made it worse. Just 2 weeks before, her 67-year-old grandmother had died from complications of diabetes. 2 funerals in the same month. A family already shattered by loss now had to bury a child whose death was caused not by random tragedy, but by his own mother's recklessness. On January 9, 2021, she took to Facebook, the stage where she often shared her life. Thanks for you and mommy coming to me and telling me to make y'all proud from up here. I'm going ape shit. Love y'all, she wrote. Later that day, she added, I know you're okay, baby, because you're with grandma and grandpa. What's wrong is wrong and what's right is right, and someone's gonna pay when I'm finished for taking my innocent fat daddy, my favorite Virgo. 8/29. Now I have no one to celebrate my birthday with. The words poured out like grief, but the performance was impossible to ignore. She wasn't writing for herself. She was writing for the audience, for sympathy, for validation. For almost a year, she stayed quiet online. When she finally returned, it wasn't with reflection or remorse. It was with another announcement. In June 2021, she gave birth to a son nicknamed King Grady, which meant she had been pregnant during the crash. Pregnant, high, and driving recklessly with her children in the car. The revelation was staggering. She hadn't just endangered her own life and Carlito's, she had endangered the unborn baby inside her as well. It was reckless beyond comprehension. Despite the indictment, the loss, and the new child, she didn't slow down. She didn't pivot. She didn't learn. She continued as if tragedy was just another inconvenience. By April 2024, she was pregnant again. Her household now included 12-year-old Armoney, toddler King Grady, another baby on the way, and the ghost of Carlito's memory lingering over everything. 4 children, 4 different fathers, 3 still alive, all being raised in chaos. Then came the violation. In May 2024, she broke the terms of her bond and was booked into Fulton County Jail. There she met Amy Ard, director of Motherhood Beyond Bars, a nonprofit designed to help incarcerated mothers. The irony was impossible to ignore. A woman who had already buried one child because of her recklessness was now being supported by a program built on the sanctity of motherhood. Ard remembered her as funny, sometimes groggy, quick to answer questions in class, and often touching the scars on her head from the crash that killed Carlito. She told Amy she wouldn't serve time, that she'd deliver outside, at home, free. She believed her own lie. In October 2024, she pled guilty. 2 years in prison, 6 on probation. On December 18, 2024, she entered the Georgia Department of Corrections. Less than 3 weeks later, in January 2025, she gave birth to another baby boy at Southern Regional Medical Center. She was allowed just a few days with him before the system cut her off. That was the only time she would ever hold her son. Another child born into instability, another child taken from her arms. By May 2025, after fighting with other inmates, she was moved to a segregated cell at Lee Arrendale State Prison. Cell H19, a single cell without ventilation, temperatures climbing into the 90s. She was 6 months postpartum, prescribed buspirone and haloperidol, medications known to increase sensitivity to heat. She was vulnerable, but vulnerability doesn't earn mercy in prison. On the morning of July 8, around 6, another inmate reported hearing her calling for medical help. Then silence. No staff responded. Hours ticked by. The next morning, July 9th at 10:45 a.m., an officer finally called 911 to report an unresponsive inmate. By the time EMTs arrived, Quita was already decomposing. Coroner Kenneth Franklin described the scene. Blisters had formed on her thighs and arms. The skin on her eyelids was slipping. Green marbling streaked across her body. The smell of decay was overwhelming. He estimated she could have been dead for 2 days. The logs claimed guards had checked her every 30 minutes. Science mocked their signatures. Dr. Paul Uribe, a former Army pathologist, confirmed the obvious. That degree of decomposition doesn't come within 30 minutes, within an hour, or within 2 hours. She had been ignored, abandoned, left to rot in an oven masquerading as a prison cell. Her family was told by the funeral home that her body couldn't even be prepared for a proper viewing. She had been left to decompose in such a state that her children couldn't say goodbye. Her sister called it inhumane. Advocates pointed out she should never have been placed alone, postpartum, medicated, and at risk. But the excuses of the prison system were predictable. No trauma, no contraband, no clear cause of death. The GBI ruled it undetermined. Undetermined, as though the blistered corpse in a 90-degree cell was a mystery no one could solve.
Months after giving birth, guards find a woman dead inside of a state prison cell. It happened in Northeast Georgia.
That's right, and now the circumstances surrounding Sheqweetta Vaughan's death have nonprofit leaders concerned. 11 Alive's Gilad Malamed joining us now. So, Gilad, do we know what the cause of Vaughan's death is here?
The Habersham County Deputy Coroner tells me the cause and manner of Sheqweetta Vaughan's death is undetermined. Based on the coroner's report, however, the executive director of Motherhood Beyond Bars feels Vaughan's death could have been prevented. The nonprofit's executive director, Amy Ard, says it was difficult for her to read the details in the report. Vaughan participated in the group's childbirth education class. Ard says she gave birth 6 months ago. The deputy coroner says he responded to Lee Arrendale State Prison July 9th after a 911 call from the prison. His report says prison staff told him they checked on Vaughan at 10:08 a.m. and found her dead at 10:40. The deputy coroner arrived at 12:10 and believes Vaughan was dead for 2 to 4 hours. He says it's difficult to know for sure because of the cell's temperature and that humidity sped up decomposition.
Sheqweetta Vaughan had a 2-year sentence. She fully expected to come home, and she won't get that opportunity. This is someone who was in a vulnerable postpartum period. We know that she had some mental health diagnoses. This is a person that should not be put in solitary confinement. And the conditions of that solitary confinement were fairly inhumane. It was way too hot for anyone, postpartum or not, to be in a unit where there's no airflow, no air conditioning in Georgia in the summertime.
Ard tells me Vaughan was in an isolated cell, and it's protocol for someone to check on her every 30 minutes. She believes that did not happen due to the description of Vaughan's body in the coroner's report.
Meanwhile, her children were scattered. Department of Children's Services placed her newborn with Nigeria Harris, the sister of her eldest son's father. Harris said Department of Children's Services told her it was Quita's request. Another aunt, Rita Thomas, went to court seeking custody, insisting blood relatives should raise the boys. The fight over the children became the last stage of Quita's life, the system deciding who would salvage the pieces she left behind. Sam Carlito, the father of her second son, didn't even know she was dead until he saw the news. His grief spilled online. "I'm broken right now, y'all. I don't know what to do or how to feel. I lost my 3-year-old son December 17, 2020. I thought we was going to fight Quetta. Shit not fair. How you leave me here to fight this alone?" It was the cry of a man who had already buried his child and now had to bury the mother too. Her funeral was held on July 21, 2025, at Dorch Williamson Funeral and Cremation Services in Riverdale, Georgia. Her body, too decomposed for a viewing, lay hidden from the children she left behind. Her kids sat in foster homes, divided with their futures uncertain. In life, she was chaos. In death, she became a statistic. She wasn't nurturing, she wasn't stable, she was destructive. And her reckless choices killed her son and scattered her children. And yet, in the end, the prison system reflected her neglect back at her. Guards signed papers while she blistered and rotted. Policies promised checks that never came. She died calling for help no one gave. Two truths lived together here. She failed her children, and the system failed her. The irony is grotesque. She left her children to suffer, and she died the same way they lived, neglected, forgotten, waiting for compassion that never came. May Sheqweetta Vaughan find in death the peace she never created in life. May her children grow up with more stability than she ever offered. And may Georgia answer for why a woman, 6 months postpartum and medicated, was left to decompose in a cell hot enough to cook flesh. Because neglect, whether from a mother or from a prison, kills just the same.